Everyone seems to be striking back these days. Take the Dallas Cowboys. Last Sunday at Oakland, they had to overcome the force of a determined Raider defense. Oakland's pass rush provided Danny White with some close encounters of the worst kind. But the Cowboys responded to a 7-0 Oakland lead with a laser-like running of Tony Dorsett, number 33. In this game, Dorsett became the only player in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards in each of his first 4 pro seasons. Despite Dorsett's performance, Oakland still had a chance to win the game with less than 2 minutes remaining. But number 34, Aaron Mitchell, brought the Raiders back down to earth. The Cowboys' 19-13 win tied them for first in the NFC East and assured them of their 14th playoff berth in the last 15 years. Opponents intent on crumbling this empire have always found their hopes reduced to pure fantasy. Like the young gunfighters in those old Western movies, the Atlanta Falcons defense continually has to prove that it's fast on the draw. Last Sunday's showdown was in Philadelphia, where they squared off against Top Gun's Ron Jaworski and Harold Carmichael, number 17. Carmichael's touchdown was the 66th of his career, tying a club record. The Falcons didn't have any better luck clearing their hosters when the Eagles' offense went on to stage what amounted to an ambush. An option pass from Louis Giamona to John Spagnola, number 88, gave Philadelphia a 14-3 lead as the first half was about to end. But Steve Bartkowski and Wallace Francis, number 89, quickly returned the fire. Another Bartkowski touchdown pass even matters at 17 apiece. And late in the game, Philadelphia called on straight-shooting Wilbert Montgomery. But by this time, the Eagles had run out of bullets. With 12 seconds remaining in the game, Tim Mazzetti's 37-yard field goal provided the Falcons with a 20-17 win that enabled them to prove themselves as the best in the NFC West once again. While both of these teams are playoff-bound, division championships are what they covet. Final week showdowns will pit them against perennial division titleists Atlanta against Los Angeles and Dallas against Philadelphia. When the smoke clears, the gunfight at the OK Corral should look like Bambi in comparison. In Buffalo, the Bills put on their best game face for the Los Angeles Rams. A face like this won't make the cover of Gentleman's Quarterly, but every Bill wore one. Number 83, Sherman White, allowed Vince Ferragamo a chance to see it up close. After Ferragamo departed with an injury, Pat Hayden took over, but things grew even uglier for the Rams. A 47-yard interception return by number 22, Steve Freeman, in the second half gave the Bills a 7-0 lead. Still, a mistake-prone and sputtering Buffalo offense enabled Los Angeles to tie the score and send the game into overtime. In the extra period, Buffalo's sputtering came to an abrupt halt. Joe Ferguson and Frank Lewis, number 82, combined for a 30-yard pass play that set the stage for Nick Mickemeier's 30-yard field goal and a 10-7 Bills win. Prior to the 1980 season, who would have thought that the Rams would be lagging 2 games behind Atlanta in the NFC West? And who would have thought that Buffalo would be dancing atop the AFC East? The Bills may not resemble Broadway stars before a game, but afterwards they've got enough star quality to cast an entire Broadway show. A musical version of that championship season, perhaps. It shapes up as a hit, though the Bills won't mind at all if their show bypasses Broadway and instead plays New Orleans come January 25th. For the Cardinals' Jim Hanifin, all signs have pointed toward a disappointing first campaign as an NFL head coach. Left in the role of spoiler, St. Louis was not doing much spoiling against the Lions, a team fighting for its playoff life in the NFC Central. Gary Danielson's touchdown pass to number 39 Leonard Thompson was only the quarterback's second in the last 7 games, pinpointing Detroit's deficiency. Billy Sims elevated the Lions to dizzying heights early in the season, but has since fallen hard. Despite a score against St. Louis, Sims continued to take the plunge. With Sims held in check, the Cardinals unleashed a strong pass rush on Danielson. The Lions have their own sack attack, the Silver Rush, anchored by Bubba Baker, number 60. Here, Baker's quickness to the outside resulted in a tipped pass and an interception. A gambling Lion defense became easy prey for Jim Hart. A blitz by number 53 linebacker Gary Cobb was turned into a Cardinal touchdown as Hart found Wayne Morris in the vacated area. For the second straight week, Detroit led late in the game. For the second straight week, the Lions' special teams were the GOAT. Roy Green, untouched by human hands, raced 57 yards for a touchdown as St. Louis spoiled Detroit 24-23. The loss dropped the Lions 1 game behind Minnesota in the NFC Central. Detroit's playoff chances rest this week with Tampa Bay. Against Minnesota, the Bucs' slim postseason hopes vanished. This Doug Williams to Kevin House touchdown brought a ray of hope to the Bucs, but the sun would soon set on Tampa's 1980 season. For the Vikings, a new day was dawning. Quarterback Tommy Kramer glowed in the Florida sun as he masterfully picked apart a once indestructible defense that had suddenly and inexplicably become flabby in 1980. Kramer's scoring strike to Sammy White was the decisive blow in Minnesota's 21-10 victory over the Bucs. While Kramer's passing highlighted the win, it was the continued success of a previously non-existent running game that sparked the Vikings. Ted Brown, number 23, ran for 90 yards for the second straight game as the Vikings' ground attack awakened from a deep slumber. With 2 games to play, all that stands between Minnesota and a Central Division title are the Cleveland Browns and the Houston Oilers. For the Chicago Bears, the word for the day was offense, and then more offense. With 2 chances for a playoff berth, slim and none, Chicago aired it out. Vince Evans threw for 316 yards and 3 touchdowns against Green Bay as the Bears' passing game, ranked last in the NFC, emerged from a season of hibernation. Evans' howitzer was only a part of Chicago's arsenal. The man they call Sweetness added a few steps of his own. Walter Payton's 130 yards moved him into 6th place on the all-time NFL rushing list. What's even more remarkable is that Payton is only in his 6th season. When the day had ended, Payton and the Bears had been eliminated from the NFC Central playoff chase, but not before Chicago had made its final stand. These two Willie Nelson fans are wearing the same number, but are leading their teams in opposite directions. Only last year, the Steelers were the paragons of pro football. In 1980, they have tumbled from their perch of perfection. They are helping opponents by making the kinds of mistakes they used to exploit. Franco Harris is a lead pipe cinch for the Hall of Fame. But against Houston, he looked more like Pele than the NFL's third leading rusher of all time. In past years, when the Steeler offense struggled, the Steel Curtain and their punishing cohorts would rise to the occasion. In 1980, the flesh is willing, but the key play goes unmade. Houston was a team that shook opportunity by the throat as it shut out Pittsburgh 6-0, the first blanking of the Steelers in 6 years. Having kicked in the Steelers' now wobbly door, Houston appears to have assumed Super Bowl status. Brian Sipe is not the only one picking up a lot of ground at Cleveland, where the Browns tried to stay one game ahead of the Oilers. Strafing the Jets would put the Cardiac Kids one game closer to their first division title since 1971. Mike Pruitt racked up some real estate of his own as he gave the Browns a 10-0 lead early in the second half. This seemed like a secure cushion considering the energy crisis that has struck the Jets offense this year. But a Richard Todd pass to a highly touted rookie, Johnny Lamb Jones, propelled the Jets in front. But just as the Jets sensed an upset, Brian Sipe hit Greg Pruitt with one of his 30 completions, a team record. Cleveland grounded New York 17-14 and remained atop the AFC Central. The Bengals, weary of football's toughest division, sought relief against the Baltimore Colts. Pete Johnson, who gained 118 yards, ran for cover as he helped Cincinnati to a 31-6 lead. If Johnson had anticipated Baltimore's scoring barrage in the fourth quarter, he might have stayed there. Burt Jones started the Colts' comeback with a 16-yard touchdown pass to Randy Burke, who also seemed to be looking for a place to hide. The Colts capped a 4-touchdown fourth quarter when Jones hit super rookie Curtis Dickey for this score. Their comeback hopes were shattered in the end, however, as Cincinnati totaled 34 points. Kenny Anderson rang up 6 of these on a 67-yard touchdown to number 85, Isaac Curtis. The final was 34-33 in favor of the Bengals and seemed to indicate that with an abundance of young talent, Cincinnati is eager to play the spoiler. When they host the Browns on the last Sunday of the regular season, the Bengals will get another chance. The New York Giants' Scott Brunner, number 12, couldn't wait that long to compound the Seahawks' troubles. Twice, the rookie from Delaware hit Ernest Gray, number 83, for long touchdown passes in his first pro start at quarterback. Gray caught only 3 passes, but they were good for 114 yards. But when Seattle's defense finally regrouped, the Giants were cut down to size. This enabled Jim Zorn to give Kingdome fans a taste of last year as he passed to Steve Largent for the go-ahead touchdown. Largent's touchdown gave Seattle a 21-20 fourth quarter lead. But just when the Seahawks dreamed they might finally win a game in the Kingdome, they allowed a 4th and 1 situation to become a 30-yard nightmare. Billy Taylor took it on the lam, and his heist of the winning touchdown was criminally easy as the Giants pilfered a 27-21 victory. With players like Billy Taylor, Scott Bruner, and Phil Simms, the Giants are hoping to break out of the NFC East cellar and go straight. Maybe not to the top, but at least to NFL respectability. After their 8-8 1979 performance, the improving New Orleans Saints felt they soon would be a team too hot to handle. In 1980, the fires have failed to flicker once. But against the 49ers, the talents of quarterback Archie Manning and the intense concentration of number 85 Henry Childs sent the Saints on the right track. The 49ers' failure to contain Manning within the pass pocket allowed the Saint quarterback to run and gun freely as he did to Ike Harris, number 82. The Saints amassed a convincing 35-7 halftime lead and seemed destined to win their first game of the year. But when the Saints ran out of gas, the team sputtered into its customary tailspin. New Orleans' problems commenced when Freddie Solomon showed the Saints his own version of the bump and run. Solomon's 51-yard dash was his second punt return for a touchdown this year and the start of a patient 49er comeback. Undaunted by Ken Bordelon's outside blitz, quarterback Joe Montana calmly stood his ground and resolutely found Solomon. Yet in a game which saw 950 total yards transpire, even some of Montana's simpler passes turned out to be game breakers. Dwight Clark's 71-yard sprint highlighted the 49ers' 31-point comeback as San Francisco prevailed in overtime 38-35. The defeat was nothing new to New Orleans, but to San Francisco, it was a rediscovery of its early season winning form. Other discoveries were to be found in Kansas City, where a forgotten quarterback named Bill Kenny proved he could motivate the league's most timid offense. The Chiefs remained an unruly host throughout the afternoon and treated Craig Morton harshly as number 52, Thomas Howard, turned Morton's fumble into 6 points. The Chiefs' tenacity haunted Morton all day as he was victimized by 5 turnovers, which secured a 31-14 Kansas City victory. Denver's loss allowed co-division leader San Diego to breathe a little easier as the Chargers now only had Oakland to worry about in the AFC West. Playoff security now seemed as safe as a down-and-out to sure-handed Kellen Winslow. The Redskins limited the Charger receiver trio of Winslow, Charlie Joyner, and J.J. Jefferson to a scant total of 8 catches, which forced Dan Faust to seek alternate methods of attack, like tight end Greg McCrary, number 88. When San Diego needs a win away from home, Fouts usually packs his 300-yard shows and takes them on the road. Fouts passes, which usually connect more often than Charger hand slaps, breed fear in cities throughout the country. But on this visit to the nation's capital, the Chargers had to pay homage to Washington's Department of Defense. Joe Lavender's 51-yard interception spearheaded the Redskins' stingy pass defense, which picked off 4 Fouts passes. By denying San Diego the ball, the Redskins were able to generate some offense of their own. Joe Theismann's 18-yard pass to Wilbur Jackson capped off a 40-17 Redskin upset and helped make the AFC West a more tense place to live.